And we are live.
Okay. Yeah, you start, please.
Yeah. Welcome. Good morning, everyone from Atharva Institute of Management Studies. I welcome you all to IT Talks, an IT awareness program powered by IQAC, which is Internal Quality Assurance Cell, through which we have arranged this IT awareness program. Initiated by us, we student and the faculty of IT department tries to reach to each and everyone within the institute and outside the institute, where we discuss general topic related to IT, try out to discuss and clear out the doubts throughout, which we think the IT awareness is important in India, and we want to share our knowledge so that we have invited people who can tell us more. My name is Mahesh Kulkarni, a student of IT department. After successful completion of 3 episodes, in the first episode, Dr. Devershi Pallavi Bhatt ma'am shared a knowledge on need of information security like never before. In the second episode, India's youngest dean, Professor Vikas Parekh, shared valuable knowledge on cybersecurity with women issues and encountering measures. In the third episode, Rahul Mehta sir shared his knowledge on enabling business with cloud-based ERP solution. Now we are excited to introduce episode 4, where we'll try to make this experience enjoyable and informative to all. And with this, I'm honored to introduce Dr. Deveshi Pallavi Bhatt again to be part of this show, where I will be host and will discuss on today's topic. Dr. Deveshi Pallavi Bhatt, a certified ethical hacker, a certified EC Council security specialist, a certified EC Council instructor, and a gold medalist in MTech. Presently, ma'am is working as associate professor and head in Department of Computer Applications, Manipal University, Jaipur, from July 2016. Previously, ma'am has worked in reputed institutes like Vidyapit, Pune University, and Punjab Technical University for last 14 years. Apart from this, she is a PhD in computer science. She has published 25 national, international research publications, journals, and conferences. She has acted as a keynote and guest speaker in various platforms, national, international, including Bureau of India Standard, presented in reputed India platforms in India, abroad, including NITs, IITs, and she has an expert committee member of RPSC. She is currently working on children's safety system include using IoT, funded by Manipal University, Jaipur. Completed a 2 years research project as a principal investigator on wireless land security, funded by Pune University. And the list goes on and on. I'm grateful to be a part of this. So let's begin with today's topic, which is blockchain technology. Ma'am, I would like to ask you, what is blockchain? Can you explain to our audience, please?
Thank you so much, Mahesh, for this wonderful, wonderful introduction of mine. Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like to thank Shri Sunil Raneji, who is the Executive President of our Group of Institutions. Then Dr. R.G. Ratnawat who is the Director at Atharva Institute of Management Studies. And Dr. Shubhilal Agrawal, who is the Chief Coordinator, Internet Quality Assurance Cell, Atharva Institute of Management Studies. I am Dr. Devershi Pallavi Bhatt, who is an associate professor and head of the Department of Computer Applications in Manipal University, Jaipur. The Manipal University, Jaipur is the first NAC accredited A+ university in North region, and which was established in 2011, and it belongs to the Manipal Global Group of Institutions. So I think your question was, what is blockchain? Yeah, so it is today's topic, and it is a very topic of interest, and it creates a buzz in the market also. So a blockchain is a distributed ledger capable of maintaining a immutable log of transaction happening in the network. So it is basically we can compare it with a ledger, and it is creating the log out of all the transactions. So blockchain in general, if you understand, so it is a decentralized distributed database of immutable records which cannot be erased. And the technology was discovered with the invention of bitcoins, the first cryptocurrency, and it is the most popular cryptocurrency actually. And it's a trusted approach. There are a lot of companies in the present scenario which are using the blockchain technology. And as everything is secure in this, and because it is open source approach, it can be easily trusted in the long run. So this is a crux of blockchain.
Yes, ma'am. With that, I would like to ask this next question is what do you know about like what is decentralized data and decentralized data in blockchain, ma'am?
Yes, centralized transaction, computer application students and many other students also understand what is centralized transaction basically, where there is a central authority who is taking care of all the transactions are going on. For example, if we take an example of a bank, so in the bank there is a head office or the head office of the entire country, right? For example, if we talk about the reserve bank, so reserve bank is taking care of all the transactions which are going on in all the private and nationalized banks, right? Private or
Yeah.
national level banks. So in the centralized transaction, the third party is involved. And if we talk about the disadvantage of that, then it is time consuming and sometimes takes days. If the transactions are heavy and transactions are many, then it takes days to, and it is expensive also, because that one party is handling all the transaction of that. If I want to share an example for this same for the students to understand this. So we can take an example of, if I want to transfer $10 to you, for example. So there it has to be transferred through some bank or some net banking application through which I can transfer you that, right? So one party is taking care of that. If I have by mistake I have transferred it to somebody else, and it has not got transferred to you, then the bank will be held liable for the same, and I can request for revert the transaction, roll back the transaction. So this is what is centralized transaction. Yeah.
Yeah. The next question I would like to ask is blockchain the same as Bitcoin? Like, are they same or are they related to each other?
Yeah, definitely. This is a very nice question, because many people, if we talk about blockchain, they always name the Bitcoin only. So Bitcoin is not only the blockchain currency, but it is, yes, it is the most popular currency, which is based on a virtual currency, which is based on blockchain. And blockchain was invented by Satoshi Nakamoto, who people say that he's actually a person. Some people say it is not, he doesn't exist, it is just a name. Or in 2008, to serve the public transaction ledger of the cryptocurrency Bitcoin, right? So blockchain is a parent technology and Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency. So they are not same, but you can say that Bitcoin is using the blockchain technology.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Now the next is we have heard many times about the concept of miners in Bitcoin. What actually it is, ma'am? Can you explain this a bit?
Yeah, sure. Concept of miners. This will
Bit.
be a little technical questions, yeah, but I'll explain it. So miners basically are involves the mining is a process, right? So
Hmm.
you must have heard about the big data and data mining word, right? So
Yes,
mining
ma'am.
is that only. So mining involves the blockchain miners, and blockchain miners are people, right, who add the Bitcoin transaction data to the global Bitcoin's global public ledger. So there is a global public ledger of Bitcoin, and miners actually add the transaction to the Bitcoin global public ledger, right, of the past transactions. And
Hmm.
in this ledger, the blocks are secured by the blockchain miners only, and they are connected to each other, and they form a chain of all the transactions. So minors, for example, if I'll give you an example of a kitty party, so people will understand that in kitty party, if we always make chips in front of everyone, right? Not like that one person is only coming with the chits and we have not opened and checked the chits. Sometimes it may happen that that person has written all only one name in all the chits, or
Yes.
in two chits they have written one single name for let the other person win, right? Or let
Yes.
himself or herself win, right? To
Yeah.
secure that, or to save that, and to actually keep the transparency in the transaction, what we do is we always create the chits in front of everyone. So everyone is a minor because everyone is endorsing that transaction to happen, and then
Hmm.
everyone is checking whether that one chit belongs to only one person and everyone is covered, right? And the chit is getting open in front of everyone, so everyone is then again responsible, and the transaction becomes a transparent thing. So they all are the minors in that. So if we understand what is the concept of minors with the help of the kitty party, so all the participants of the kitty party will be the minors,
Yes.
right? Yeah.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, now I have heard thing called proof of work in blockchain. Can you
Yeah.
throw some light on what actually it is?
Yeah, so proof of work is a process of validation. Miners need to validate the transaction by solving a complex puzzle, right? That is why we say that it is Bitcoin. We I never know if some if I'll give you one example first of all, that in these are the combination of nodes, and in blockchain it creates the all chain of nodes, and every node has some information, right? And the next node has the previous node's information, and the next node has the previous node's information, and so on. So the chain moves on like that, right? And
Hmm.
whenever the new block is getting added into the chain, then miner need to validate the transaction. For example, whatever transaction is happening, for example, if one person is transferring the amount $100 to another person's account, right? So
Yeah.
everyone will be given this information, and it will be broadcasted to everyone. And then if for validating this transaction, one has to solve a complex puzzle, right? And
Yeah.
whoever will solve the complex puzzle will get some amount as the what we say that as a bonus, right?
Bonus. Yeah.
As a bonus amount, and that will be a huge amount. So everyone actually compete with each other for solving that complex puzzle. And it is not that puzzle, a simple puzzle, it is a mathematical equation. It is based on the cryptography, and it takes lots and lots of amount of memory, and it cannot be solved in the simple computer. It needs a GPU to be for that problem to be solved. So that is why this minor process, or proof of work process of validation, actually needs sometimes a company, entire company solves that,
Yes.
right? Because they have
Yeah.
the GPUs, they have the high processing systems, they have the high end computers which has large amount of memory. So
Yeah.
it finds a special random key which is the next hash of the copy of all the transactions basically. So
Hmm.
the fastest validator has to broadcast that transaction to all other. जो भी
Yeah.
fastest करेगा उसे, that person will become the validator, and he
Yes.
will broadcast all the transactions to all other, and others will update the copy of the transaction, because everyone else who are in the network will have the copy of that transaction. So they will update the copy of the transaction later on. So it works
Yes.
like that. So this is a proof of work.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So, ma'am, the next thing I want to ask is on what basis the principle, what is the principle of blockchain technology is based on the principle, core principle of blockchain.
Okay. Okay, I'll move to that. The principle of blockchain technology, if we say, so it actually enables the information to be distributed among the users and
Hmm.
without being copied.
Hmm.
So basically, the transaction, when we talk about the principle of blockchain technology, so it actually allows every person every user to become the master of that transaction, because he is well aware of the transaction. If one person is trying to forge against that transaction, then other person can say that I have the copy of that transaction, and it is the illegitimate transaction is being uploaded. So it is the principle of that blockchain transaction which actually makes it reliable.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah. Ma'am, with that, I would like to go forward. What are the different types of blockchain? Like, what are the different types of blockchain? Can you explain?
So if we talk about core type of blockchains, there are three type of blockchain. One is public, private, and another is consortium. So
Okay.
consortium is the third type of blockchain. Public is where the entire globe is involved,
Yes.
and private when one organization or the group of organization owns that blockchain, and consortium is a mixture of both.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, going forward, is blockchain a trustworthy approach?
Yes, blockchain can be trustworthy, and it is trustworthy. And we have not listened to any kind of the threat has been occurred on the blockchain technology. There may be crimes happened because of the blockchain and using blockchain, but it is not that somebody has cracked the blockchain and they have actually uh, spoiled the transaction and they have tampered the transaction. It has not happened, and there
Hmm.
are various reasons behind that, and because of this, right? So
Yeah.
first of all, it is compatibility, because with
Yes.
other business applications, due to its open source nature, so anyone can use it. He has to be a technology expert for using that, obviously, but it is a open source, the open source nature. So
Hmm.
compatibility is the first thing why it is called a trusted approach. Then second is security, and which is the most important reason, because in all the transaction we have to believe in the centralized party only.
Yes.
So if we are saying the centralized party, so bank, for example, for that matter, is taking care of all the transactions. It is on them. They want to increase the rate of interest, they can. If they want to decrease the rate of interest, they can. And in some countries, rather, they are taking money for the saving accounts, for keeping the money in their banks,
Hmm.
right? So
Yeah.
we are totally dependent on the centralized authority, if you talk about that. But in blockchain, it is secure, and they can do the tamper also. If we talk about the centralized authority, then they can tamper with the data. We have heard many banks, they have done fraud and they have taken away all the money of the users, and then they could not do anything,
Hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
sometimes the bank has got bankrupted because only that bank has owned that entire amount or entire money of all the people. So they have just declared themselves that they cannot pay back the money, and
Hmm.
they have just, so they did not have to pay it
Yes.
back to all the users. But in blockchain, it is secure,
Hmm.
because as it meant for the online transaction, the developer have paid special attention to keeping up the pace when it comes to security. It really does not matter what type of business one owns, right? Blockchain can
Hmm.
easily be considered. So it
Yes.
is secure and nobody can tamper with the transaction. We will come to it later on, that
Hmm.
how why the person cannot do the tamper with the transaction.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, ma'am. The
Yeah.
next thing I would like to ask, are the properties of blockchain? Like, what are the properties?
Yeah, properties of blockchain, if we talk about, there are basic, I think we can say four features of blockchain, right?
Okay.
First is it is the decentralized system, which we are talking
Yeah.
about since the beginning of this talk, that it is an in decentralized system. This is the foremost principle and foremost feature of blockchain. So
Hmm.
distributed system is the one. Then it is distributed ledger, because ledger is maintained centrally generally, right?
Hmm.
But here everyone is maintaining the ledger of all the transactions, right? So it is distributed ledger also. Then it is safer and secure
Hmm.
ecosystem is there. So it is safer and secure ecosystem.
Hmm.
And then the mining process is there and proof of work is there.
Hmm.
So that makes the blockchain, and these are the four key features or properties of blockchain, we can say.
Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am. The next thing, I have heard that two types of record that are present. in blockchain database. What are they, and can you explain to our audience, please?
Just a second. Huh?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, can you please repeat the question, Mahesh?
Yes, ma'am. I have heard that there are two types of records that are present in blockchain database. What are they? Can you explain to our audience?
Okay, so the records of blockchain have two type of records. One is the block record, and another is the transactional record, right? Because one transaction takes time to get completed, right?
Hmm.
And till that time, the block record will be identical. It won't change until the
Hmm.
transaction has been recorded. Because as I said, that people are competing with each other, right?
Hmm.
So people are competing with each other, and who is the fastest who has solved that puzzle in the fastest way will become the proof of work
Okay.
candidate, or he will become the miner, right? So block records and the transaction record. So transactional record is taking place when this transaction or competition is going on between all the
Hmm.
miners, but
Okay.
block record stays identical. So both of the record can be easily accessed, and the best thing is it is possible to integrate with them each other without following the complex algorithms. So there are
Yes.
two types of that: block records and transactional
Ma'am?
records.
Ma'am. Yes, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Ma'am, we know that blockchain is a distributed database. Then how it is
Right.
different from traditional database? Can you just explain us?
Yes. So yeah, blockchain is a distributed database, and if we talk about distributed database, you all should understand that what is distributed database and what is the difference between distributed and centralized database. And it is actually, distributed database is not the standalone database, right? In the previous time, when we talk about the traditional databases, then there was only a single standalone computer which was keeping all the records, and if we want to make the changes in in any of the transaction or in the record, then we have to make changes manually there,
Yeah.
right? If you want to
Yes.
remove some, and it was a file system, right? In the
Yeah.
files we were maintaining all the records. If we want to make any changes in the file, then we have to create a new folder or
Hmm.
new file, right? Or
Yes.
otherwise we have to cut it down manually, right? Then that particular file system has been taken replaced by the computers, which are called as standalone systems, right? Then standalone system actually did the same thing, and they were keeping all the records, and there were methods to delete the transaction, to add the transaction, to update the transaction there and there only, right? And it
Yeah.
was creating the log out of it, right? And so this was a traditional database, right? If we want to create a copy of that, for example, in an office there are several departments, and in the standalone there are transactions or there are records, and if we want to keep a copy of that, then it will be created in the entire office in all the departments, and
Yes, ma'am.
everywhere we have to keep the change. If I am changing here in the computer A, then I have to explicitly go and do it in the manually in the computer B, C, D, and so on,
And so on.
right? So it was a, yeah, traditional database, right?
Yeah.
Then comes the centralized database, where which we called a client server architecture. So
Hmm.
there is a server, and server is connected to several clients,
Yeah.
right? And whenever one client is doing any transaction, it is going through the server, and server is endorsing that, and it is updating. The server is updating it to all the
All
clients,
the.
or it is giving, yeah, all the clients. So explicitly we or manually we don't have to go to every computer and make the changes, but
Hmm.
the server or the centralized system is doing it. Now comes the distributed database, because the best example, if we talk about distributed database for everyone to understand it, is a banking system. Again, I will take the same example because it will be understandable by everyone. Say for example, one bank has the head office in Mumbai, right? And they have their state head office in say of Rajasthan in Jaipur, right? and they have the city head office also in Jaipur because it is the capital of Rajasthan, right? So this is how it works. So it is distributed, right? So when I am doing the transactions, I am withdrawing money from the ATM. Then what I am doing is I am withdrawing the money from that, and the transaction is getting updated in my local branch,
Yeah.
which in from which my account belongs to, and then that transaction at the end of the day, जैसे बोलते हैं ना हम कि 10 से लेकर 3 बजे तक तो पब्लिक के लिए बैंक ओपन है,
हाँ.
और उसके बाद जो बैंकर्स हैं और जो उनके एम्प्लॉइज हैं उनके लिए ही सिर्फ बैंक ओपन है, राइट? तो वो क्या करते हैं उसके बाद में जितने भी डेली के ट्रांजैक्शंस हुए होते हैं उनको अपने हेड ऑफिस पर अपडेट करते हैं,
Yes.
और उसके बाद वो जो मेन ब्रांच ऑफिस में अपडेट करते हैं पहले, फिर उसके बाद में जो उनका हेड ऑफिस है, फॉर एग्जांपल एज आई सेड इन मुंबई, so at the end of the day all the banks coming together and updating their transaction in the master database, right? So always there is a load on the master database. अगर हम सारे transactions को master database में upload करें, जब भी मैं एक transaction कर रही हूँ तो वो मुंबई के branch में update होना चाहिए, ऐसा नहीं होता है, right? Clearing का एक time होता है कि आप 3 बजे से लेकर और हाँ इतने बजे तक आप clearing time होगा. इसका मतलब क्या है कि वो सारे transactions at the end of the day update होते हैं वहां पर, right? ये उन्होंने क्या किया हुआ है कि एक centralized database को distribute कर दिया है among different branches. Right, so this is what is the distributed database. So that is why we call it as a blockchain is a distributed database. Then it doesn't have this centralized database, but it has some the points where the database has been distributed among that, and they are maintaining the records, and later on they are updating that record into the and forwarding the information to all the database, right? Then the properties, if we talk about of distributed database, operations in blockchain, only the insert operation is there. In traditional database, we have the create, update, delete keys. Then replication, blockchain has a full replication of all the blocks in every peer, right? And in transactional traditional databases, the master slave or multi slave or multi master was there, right? Then comes the consensus. The majority of the peer agree on the outcome of the transaction in blockchain, right? But in traditional database, distributed transactions are there, and there will be two-phase commit, right? So this is what is the distributed database. I think I have answered it so long. Because it was important.
It was clean. Yeah, ma'am. I would like to take 1 or 2 questions from the chat. One is, what is the role of encryption in blockchain technology? So what is encryption and its role in blockchain?
Yes, first of all, I'll try to explain what is encryption, right? For example, A wants to send one information to B, or say for example, Mahesh wants to transfer the information to your friend, which is a secret message which only you want it to be shared with your friend only, but you are sending it through some of your friend, one of your friend who is another friend, right? And you have given your letter to that, and the envelope is open, or envelope is closed for that matter, say for example, and the person thinks that what message or what secret message Mahesh is giving to so and so person, so I must read it, right? So he was so curious, and he has opened that envelope, and he thought that I will I'll insert this message into a new envelope. Say for example, it was a white simple envelope, so he will change the envelope, and the person will not know that he has opened it, right? So he has opened it and he has read that message, right? Because it was written in plain English, and he also understand English or Marathi or maybe Hindi, so he understood, right? And he has read your message, and it was a secret message, and other person has taken it from it. So it is not good, right? Because it will not solve your purpose, and you wanted only your friend should read it, right? So now what you have done, you have coded that language. For example, you have written meet me at Marine Drive at 8 p.m. So for example, you have written this, right? But in plain English you have not written it, but you have written meet me को कुछ और लिख दिया आपने, और जैसे कि anything, for example apple pie, and apples an apple a day keeps a doctor away, for example, right? and the message was meet me at Marine Drive at 8 p.m. right?
Yes, ma'am.
So this was a message, but you have written an apple a day keeps the doctors away, right? You have decoded that message, sorry, encoded that message,
Correct.
and then you have kept it in the envelope. So this is what is an encryption, right? And then you have given it to your friend and said that please hand it over to other person or your friend to whom you want to send that message, right? Then again that person has because he was curious, he wanted to know what message you are transmitting to that, so he has opened again that envelope and he has read an apple a day keeps a doctor away. So is this a message? So he said he thought that it is I'm not getting anything, so he has again put it into an envelope and handed over to it. But your friend was knowing about it, he knows the key, and he has decrypted it again, and he got to know that he has to meet you in at 8 p.m. in Marine Drive, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So your purpose is solved. So this is what is encryption. So now what is the role of the encryption in blockchain? Your question was, right? So
Yes,
data
ma'am.
security always matters, right? Encryption is basically an approach that helps the organization to keep their data secure, right? The encryption data is encoded or charged up to some extent before it is sent out to the network, right? In blockchain, this approach is very useful because simply adds more to overall security and authenticity of the block and helps to keep them secure. So whatever block is there, there is a hash uh, sorry, hash value in that transaction. So transaction is made of two things. First is hash, which can be understood by the as a fingerprint of any transaction. अगर आप कोई भी transaction में changes कर रहे हो, एक minute सा भी change कर रहे हो, then entire transaction value will be changed. Entire
Change.
value of the block will change. So hash is that it is a mathematical function. It is a kind of a fingerprint. कोई भी चेंजेस करो तो फिंगरप्रिंट में अगर माइन्यूट सा भी डिफरेंस आ जाएगा तो आपके फिंगरप्रिंट से मैच नहीं करेगा, राइट? दूसरी चीज जो होती है ट्रांजैक्शन के ब्लॉक में, दैट इज द प्रीवियस हैश. So the hash of the previous transaction, so it has the previous transactions value, and there is not only a single transactions, right? There are the huge amount of transactions are there.
Yeah.
So there are crores of blocks, millions of blocks are there, right? So it approximate take 10 minutes to generate one hash value, है ना? And later it keeps getting tougher and tougher, right? So it
Yes.
is not possible for the hacker to, or for a hacker to change all the hashes. It won't be possible. It will, because if I'm saying crores of transactions are there and one transaction, changing one hash value is taking 10 minutes approximately, then 1 crore transaction, how much amount of time it will take? 10 crores minutes, right? And which won't be possible for the hacker to actually do it, and any computer for that matter to do this kind of processing, because it needs huge amount of memory which actually doesn't exist in the data centers also, right? So and the other solution for of this is it maintains multiple copies. So we cannot we cannot do the changes in all the copies. So encryption is a very little term, but when we talk about the hash function, then it has a huge meaning and it has a huge outcome, and it makes the blockchain transaction very secure.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. The next question, as you explained the block and all, my next question would be like, is it possible in blockchain to remove one block from the blocks or from the network?
Okay. Yes, it can be done. It can be done because there are times when only a specific portion of the online ledger is to be considered, right? And with the help of the default option and filters, this can easily be done without making a lot of effort. But when we talk about the blockchain, again, as I said, that in the block there are three fields. First is the transaction this hash function and the previous hash value. So previous hash value actually keeps you from changing the block. So if you're removing one block, then the पहले उसके पहले वाला block और बाद वाले block में changes आ जाएंगे. राइट, और पूरे चेन ऑफ ब्लॉक्स में चेंजेस आ जाएंगे। तो जैसे ही आप एक ब्लॉक को चेंज करते हो, सारे ब्लॉक्स अफेक्ट होते हैं उससे, और इतने सारे चेंजेस आप नहीं कर सकते हो। तो इट इज नॉट इजी और इट वोंट बी पॉसिबल इन द केस ऑफ ब्लॉकचेन टू रिमूव एनी ब्लॉक फ्रॉम दिस. It is possible, but again everyone will come to know that there has some change has been done.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question I would like to take from the chat is, what is major characteristics of a blockchain, or the characteristics blockchain?
Okay, characteristics of blockchain, right?
Yes.
So yeah, just a second, I will take an example for the same.
Yes.
So characteristics, if we talk about, we have discussed this though, that it is a distributed ledger, it is secure, right? And there are proof of works, and everyone will endorse that transaction that it is happening. And it takes a huge amount of memory and huge amount of time to make the changes in the blockchain if we wish to, and it will be impossible to tamper the blockchain, to remove the blockchain or add in between any blockchain. It will be always added to the end of the blockchain. So these are some features which makes it this technology a unique one.
Yes, ma'am. Coming back to my questions will be like, what are the level of security of a block, man, in blockchain? What is the level of security?
Yeah. So level of security, if we talk about, then yeah. Well, a block is the entire blockchain is a block, or the entire blockchain is protected by the strong cryptographic hash algorithm, right? As I have already discussed, and each block is a
Yeah.
unique hash pointer, right?
Yes.
So any modification in the block constituents will result the changes in the hash identifier of the block, right? Therefore, it
Yes.
offers an excellent level of security. So blockchain security is excellent level. Thus, one needs not to worry about the safety as well as the security of the data that is present in the block. So the hackers cannot hack it, but yes, the hackers can do the illegitimate transaction by using it, right? And that will they will not be known. So many of the crimes are happening by using the blockchain, by using the
Yes.
bitcoins, because you will not come to know the identity. You will come to know the identity of the transaction, but you will not come to know the identity of a person who has committed that transaction, right? So you don't know the person, as you don't have the identity of that person. For example, you have the Aadhaar card of that number of that person, or PAN card of that person. You will not come to know that who has done this transaction. But
Hmm.
yes, the transaction cannot be manipulated, but you cannot catch the hold of person.
Hmm.
So that is why the crimes can happen when we talk about deep web, dark web. So these are the terms where the transactions are happening for many illegitimate things with the help
Yeah.
of the blockchain and bitcoins. So we hear about it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. With that, as you said, there are multiple crimes like are there. So recently, ma'am, we have heard about ransomware attacks. Are they related to blockchain technology?
Yeah, this is a very nice question. Yeah. So some people say that they have increased, but the Bitcoin price has been increased to multiple times and enormously by the ransomware attack, after the ransomware attack. So ransomware acted as a fuel to the Bitcoin. We can say this statement. Then
Yes.
ransomware acted as a fuel to the Bitcoin, right? So the escalation of the ransomware could be fueled by part of the diffusion of cryptocurrencies, right? So without the cryptocurrencies, the creation of ransomware such as WannaCry जो आया था, would not be as desirable, because other forms of payments have the greater criminal traceability. As I just
Hmm.
mentioned,
Yes.
that you cannot change the transaction, but you will not know the person who has done the transaction, right? So in that way, it is secure, but it is not secure when we talk about the criminal traceability, right? And then I'll about ransomware more. Bitcoin has proven to be uh, this uh, this is a very good creature climbing to all-time high value of almost $20,000 in December 2017 एंड ड्रॉप हो गया था फिर वो बाद में जनवरी 2019 में और इतना कम हो गया था कि वो $3500 में आ गया था from $20,000 to $3,500, right? And now it is bounced back to $48,200.
Yeah.
Right, so it is very high. 20,000 से एकदम 48,200 पर आ गया. अब अगर हम बात करें तो आसपास है इसके शायद.
Yes.
So while there are many factors behind these extreme fluctuations, we believe that ransomware is one of them. Right? So ransomware may be fueling the growth of the Bitcoin. Ransomware is a type of malware. If some of the people who are listening to me are not aware what is ransomware, they must be aware, but few of people, of the students maybe. So ransomware is a type of malware. So it is a malware that encrypts the victim's file, right? And to regain the access of the file, the victim has to pay a ransom, right? The cost of which can range from few hundreds dollars to for the home users, and to hundred and thousand of dollar of major corporations or public entities, right? So so if they have hacked one person's account, they may ask for few hundred dollars or $1,000. But if we have taken the catch hold of one corporation or public sector, then they will ask for thousands of dollars to return their data, because information is money nowadays. Every business's information is very, very important, and that it is equal to money for them. So they have to pay the ransom to get their information back. Otherwise, the attacker can say that I'll delete all the informations, right? So the ransomware is usually paid in cryptocurrency. This is one thing. And the cryptocurrency is usually a Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin accounted about 98% of ransomware payments made in the first quarter of 2019. So you can think of it that 90% of the ransomware payments have been taken place with the help of the Bitcoin, right? So according to this figure of the ransomware recovery specialist, जिसको हम बोलते हैं Coveware, right? So as a result, Bitcoin has become an inseparable part of the ransomware model. And there are few reasons why Bitcoin has become the de facto of the cryptocurrency of the ransomware. उसके 3 reasons है basic अगर हम बात करें. First reason है accessibility, right? Because Bitcoin can easily be purchased via the exchange of using of credit cards, debit cards, bank transfer. आप खरीद सकते हो उसको, है ना? Accessibility है उसकी, accessibility and ease of use make it more likely to victim to pay the ransom with the help of this, right? If once you have done it, then your money has gone and it will not be traceable, right? Verifiable है वो. So Bitcoin transactions are publicly documented in the blockchain, which allows the cyber criminal to verify the payment has been made. So he will be relieved कि उसने मुझे ransom pay कर दिया है. Now I can do whatever I want, right, with that money. And I can, if he wishes to return that and transaction to them, on behalf of that they have asked for that ransom. Or otherwise, if they don't wish to do the promise which they have made, they can do it, because nobody can harm them, right? Ransom देने के बाद में भी nobody can harm them, right? तो ये एक verifiability हो गई ransomware में Bitcoin क्यों use हुआ था. Third thing is anonymity, जो मैंने अब बोला अभी. Bitcoin is not the most private cryptocurrency, but Mixer and Tumblr services also criminals to essentially launder ransom payment and keep their identities hidden. So when person is assured of my identity will be hidden, because there is no centralized authority who is making the keeping the identity of all the people, but they are keeping the identity of all the transaction, and everyone has the copy of that. So they'll be aware of that the money has the transaction has happened, and they are very free and they are very relieved that our identity will not be known to anyone. So these are 3 reasons because of which in the ransomware attack the Bitcoin was used. So the higher the demand, the higher the value, right? Ransomware हुआ था, I think in 2017, May 2017, and बहुत सारे international business and organization were hit
Yeah.
by one of the biggest ransomware attack, जिसको हम WannaCry बोलते हैं.
Oh, no.
150 countries, including the Britain, Russia, China, ये बड़े बड़े countries भी उससे हुए थे. Hospitals, universities, government agencies across the globe were put at the risk or having their computers and system held hostage, and the list of the victim continues to grow. More people become aware of the different hacks and variant of virus that are used in that. Then उसके कुछ एग्जांपल्स अगर मैं बताऊं तो यूके नेशनल हेल्थ सर्विस उससे अफेक्ट हुई थी, ब्रिटिश हॉस्पिटल के बहुत सारे कंप्यूटर्स उससे अफेक्ट हुए थे, जर्मन का डैश बहन रेलवे कंपनी उससे अफेक्ट हुई थी, देन स्पेनिश टेलीकॉम कंपनी हुई थी, इन चाइना मेनी स्टैंडर्ड गैस स्टेशंस वर हिट and leaving them unable to process the digital payments, right? And in India, state police in India, in the Indian state of Andhra Pradesh, found 25% of their system has been affected. You will come to know that in India why this ransomware was not so much, we were not affected by the ransomware so much, because we don't use bitcoins. We very less, now the technology is growing because of the secure reasons, but that time we were not using it so much, right?
Yeah.
There were people and organizations were using it, but it was not being used globally, right? And it was not legalized also to use it, right? So that is why there are very few crimes happened of ransomware, or incidents happen of ransomware in India, right? So this was about the ransomware.
Thank you, Mahesh. Thank you, ma'am, for the valuable information. Before I wrap up, I would like to ask one more question, and that is,
Yeah.
can you share some benefits of Bitcoin to our viewers?
Yeah, I've scared you a lot of Bitcoin. That yeah, Bitcoin is a very, very good technology. Sorry, blockchain is a very, very good technology. And if we talk about the benefits, we have discussed the benefits also. We have discussed the threats associated with also, and there are several applications of Bitcoin which actually gives us the benefit of blockchain, and we should use it. And in many of the application, it has to be used, right? It should be used. So first, the settlement in real time, right? We don't have to wait for my check will be cleared after 2 days, or my check will be cleared after 1 day, right? In the real time, I'll come to know that settlement has been done. I wanted to pay to somebody, and or he wanted to pay to me, then it is clear in the real time. It is cost saving, because you don't have to pay to the third party. Whoever is doing the transaction in the pool of the account, he will receive on his own. But from me, I don't have to pay any commission to him, right? So it is cost saving. Then it is security and resilience. It is secure, as we have discussed many examples we have seen of security and resilience. This is immutability. It is immutability. That means it cannot be, once the transaction is done, it cannot be omitted. We cannot insert a block in between, and we cannot remove any block from the blockchain, right? So it is immutable. It is the next benefit. Then it has the user's pseudonymity, right? That means the user, uh, one user cannot create multiple accounts or identity, or one user cannot tamper with the transaction which has happened, right? So these are all the benefits of blockchain,
Yeah.
which
Uh,
are important, and which actually makes it the popular one.
yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am, for the benefits for blockchain to our viewers. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have discussed blockchain technology. With that, I would like to thank Dr. Devershi Pallavi Bhatt, ma'am, for giving us valuable information and time and impactful discussion today. Also, I would like to thank Shri Sunil Ane sir, Executive President, Atharva Groups of Institutes, Dr. R.G. Ratnavat sir, Director, AIMS, and Dr. Shubilal Agarwal, ma'am, Director, IQAC, Atharva Institute of Management Studies, for guiding us and availing us to introduce IT Talk Show to all. Thank you everyone to joining. Stay tuned for the episode number 5. Thank you.
And thank you so much, Mahesh, for being such a wonderful host, and everyone else who has invited me and given me the chance to talk about blockchain. And blockchain is very close to my heart as a technology. And we will have more discussion on that, where I can share my screen to show you the practical things of blockchain. Otherwise, it was just a talk. So it was
Yes,
just an overview of the blockchain. But yes, we will certainly be in touch with the session where I can share my screen to showcase some examples of blockchain. Thank you so much, everyone, for
yes.
listening to me patiently.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, can I
Yes, yes. Thank you.